little quiet. All right, let's see if I can fix that. Check, check, check. Crank up the volume a little bit. I don't want to get into the red when I get too loud, though. There we go. Hopefully that's a little better. How you doing, Stern? Awesome, Jay Hanneman. Foxy. Soulless Sweet. Bad Blue Pixel. How you guys all doing? Looks like Twitch is good. Hopefully YouTube follows up here short. There it is. We're good. Okay, so we are all live, it looks like, on both platforms. Wonderful. Good evening. Good morning, Neil. I'm doing good, Retro Frog. How are you doing? Hey, Condorito. Tactux. Toctux. Pac-Man, Obsidian, Jeremiah, K-Money. Orange juice is my heroin. Obsidian, Matt Dawson, Richard Perez, Sup Neo, boring login name. Well, I'm seeing a lot of you guys I remember from, well, that I mean, have been in this project for ages, and a lot of you guys have, with usernames I've never seen before, so welcome everybody. It should certainly be a fun and interesting stream here. We got a bunch of stuff to discuss, and I expect we'll have a lot of new people. It's been a long time. All right. Where we at? Prescreta, Fraj, Dave Patterson, Cal 9000, Leroy, PGJ, David Peitzer, Drunk Ninja, Kingdom J. I might have to stop doing this, guys. We'll see how it goes. But welcome, everybody. So ultimately, I have a list here that I'll show in a second of a bunch of stuff that I've already collected from Bitbucket and the forums, and I've been keeping a list going for pull items for a long time. So I already have a list that's over 50 items long. So basically what we're gonna ultimately do here is I'll take ideas from you guys and we'll add to the list, and then after the stream is over, I'll go through and try and whittle it down. We're going to be limited to something like 40 items on the poll. I don't want to have more than 40 items. 40 is already a crazy big amount, way more than I really want. But there's at least 40 good items to add to the poll. So we're certainly not short on ideas here. But welcome everybody. And you know what? Before we get started, I do want to say a quick prayer to keep the. You got to pray the trolls away. Yes, rest in peace, my hair. It is long gone, Sid. It is long gone. You know, having the long hair is part of what made me start going bald, unfortunately. But anyways, let's pray. Lord, thank you for this project, and thank you for everybody here. I pray that you would help me to not be nervous, remain calm, just give me peace, Lord. In all this, I pray that you would help this stream to run smoothly. I pray that you would help us come up with the best features for this upcoming poll. I pray that everything would be peaceful. We wouldn't have any serious drama. And just help us to have a good time and enjoy each other's company this morning, this evening, whatever it is for people. And thanks for being with us in this stream. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. All right. So let's get started. We can look at these items. Okay. So here is, I guess for starters, I will go through these items and we can talk about them. I know I want to start by talking about this one, this new paid Android version, right? I know a big one. So ETA, ETA Prime, contacted me yesterday, and he was all like, um, there were 40 people, literally 40 people, that actually contacted him yesterday because we put Android in the title of the email. So apparently that is definitely something people want. So I expect that is likely to end up near the top of the poll results, but we shall see. But anyways, so per Android, my thoughts. I've actually tinkered with it already, and so I know it's possible at this point, and I have some ideas as far as to get it done. But my thoughts on that is basically to be able to select a bunch of games in your this would be stage one. You select a bunch of games in your collection, you right click and you say export to Android, right? Simple. And then they show up in your Android app. So stage one, I don't envision adding a scraper to the Android app or adding downloads or really that many metadata changes or anything. What I'm envisioning right now, I mean that can always change, but what I'm envisioning right now is literally a way to just export your desktop collection to Android and be able to play it on Android. So with box art and stuff, just a box art list like LaunchBox. So that's my initial plans there. I did want to talk about that. Yeah, NVIDIA Shield. Yeah, so it does sound like we have some people interested in the Android stuff. So that will be on the poll for sure. I wanted to go through that real quick. Thank you, Jeremiah. Thank you, Mark. Anyways, so let's go through the rest of these poll items real quick. Hopefully real quick. It might take a while. We do have a couple hours for this stream. I got till about noon before I got to get out of here for family reasons, but I think we'll be good to go until then. So new CRT theme for Big Box is pretty obvious. Basically, there is at least one CRT theme available, but people want. I think what I would make a CRT theme that is based on the default theme, and just make it work better on a CRT with a tiny resolution. I think one thing that would help me as we go through this list, as far as whittle it down, because I am going to have to whittle this list down, and then also like any new ideas coming in are going to be. We'll probably wait until the end of the stream or until later on in the stream for new ideas, because we've got a lot to get through, and we've got so many people commenting, which is awesome, by the way. I'm so glad you're all here. But we got so many people commenting that I'm going to have to go back through the ideas, I think, or wait until closer to the end of the stream so I can get them all. I don't want to miss any. So I should be able to go back through the comments and pick them out. So I would appreciate if you would hold off on those until later, and then we can do them all together. But as we go through these items, I think it would be a good thing to get feedback on the items I'm going through. So as we're going through items, if you guys want that particular feature, let me know. If you don't want that particular feature, let me know. And that will help me in the future judge the feedback on how popular these are. Zoom in the spreadsheet. Yeah, I can do that. Is that better? CRT shouldn't be hard to implement. Well, one thing about CRT is it's the new theme for CRT theme for Big Box. It's easy to build it so that it works at a certain resolution, but one thing I'm not familiar with currently is like all the technical things you've got to do to get Windows running on a CRT. these days. And so I don't think that's necessarily a LaunchBox thing. So that's a separate piece of it that I don't really think we're going to do anything about. I don't think we can. But anyways, maybe somebody knows more about that. True UWP app for Win. Well, anyways, let's get into those other ideas shortly on later in the stream after we get through these. But let's see. I am not ETA Prime, by the way. ETA is awesome, and we've been me and ETA have been working together for a long time. ETA does all the videos, or not all the videos, but most of the videos, of course, and he has his own channel, of course, and he does amazing videos there as well. But I am Jason Carr is my name, right? And I'm the developer. I'm not the only developer who's ever worked on LaunchBox and Big Box, but 99% of the work has been mine, and I've hired some people as contractors here and there. But anyways, so it does sound like we're getting some good feedback on the CRT stuff, so that's good. As far as Linux, I was interested in that as well, especially back when there was more drama going on about privacy and Windows 10 and all that stuff. But I will say that we put out a Linux poll a while back, maybe a year ago, and this was after I had done a live stream showing that it was potentially feasible to run LaunchBox in Linux, and unfortunately the response was disappointing. So there wasn't really enough interest in Linux, at least in our community, in our user base, to invest all the time needed to get anything running on Linux. So, however, Android definitely, yeah, there's enough interest in Android. So I will say though that, and I haven't researched this, but apparently the Raspberry Pi 4, Android is planned or something to run on the Raspberry Pi 4, or they're working on it or something like that. So at that point, at least we might have Raspberry Pi support if we get an Android version going. All right, so that's the CRT stuff. The next thing is a vertical 9x16 theme, right? So ultimately, vertical shooters, there are some people that have vertical cabs. Now, to be honest with you, I doubt there's that many people with that setup. So unless I get a bunch of people screaming at me right now, I probably won't put that on the poll, because it's just, I'd love to please those people, but we do have a theme from Farron already available for the vertical cabs, and I put this on the list because there was feedback on it, but I kind of doubt there's going to be a lot of people voting for that. So we do have a +1 for vertical theme. Applies to like 2 people. Yeah, that's my concern there. Love to have it. Okay, so we got a couple people interested. All right, so next we have platform-specific zoom and aspect ratios for LaunchBox. Now this is, I know something, I would assume this is going to be popular, but I'm not positive, so speak up, guys. What this means is that, you know how in LaunchBox you've got different sized boxes. So you have some boxes that are like this and some boxes that are like this, right? So this would allow you to, on a per platform basis, configure the spacing around all that stuff, both in the as far as zooming, how big the boxes are, as well as the aspect ratio. So that has been a popular request ever since the .next version came out of LaunchBox. +1 for zooming, platform-specific zooms, sure. So we're getting a little bit more interest in that, it looks like. Critical Sid, +1. Giovanni, +1. Connerito, +1. Yeah. Cool. All right. And then, of course, we have the Android version, which no matter what, that's going to be on the poll at this point, obviously. And then Marquis Video Support. This one's an interesting one to get feedback on. It's not a big job, to be honest, but well, it is if we add a separate video type for Marquis. If we add a separate video type for our keys so that you can literally put in a wide video specifically for Marquis, that is a bigger job, which I guess we would probably do. But that has come up quite a few times, so I'm guessing that there's enough interest in that. Well, anybody who has a cab with a Marquis wants that, basically. I'm seeing a few people there. Options to customize the Marquis screen. Sure. Cool. All right. So then we have the next one on the list is basically adding a bunch of fields from the LaunchBox Games database. We have alternate names. We have game type, which is whether it's released or not, whether it's a hack or a demo or whatever it is. We have max players, which I'll probably change to or rename something like local players maybe. We have with a Wikipedia link and the video link. So it involves bringing that stuff in from the LaunchBox Games database, because believe it or not, those fields are on the Games database, but they're not in LaunchBox itself. Orange juice. Yeah, so to be clear, guys, we have Marquis support. There's just no way to put videos on them currently. So that's really all we're talking about. I do highly recommend putting a Marquis on your cab if you can get it handled. Okay, so we have... Yeah, it looks like we got plenty of feedback on the new fields. So that'll probably be on there. I'm thinking I need to like note in some way simply what isn't going well as far as ideas and what is. So I think what I'm going to do is that. And then we have, and I'm gonna do this here because this one I've gotten more feedback on this in this stream than anything else. Whatever. What am I doing? Then we have integrated RetroArch NetPlay lobby browser. I could pull up an example of this, but there's actually a lobby browser web page for RetroArch where you can see people that are waiting to connect up with somebody to play a game. So, and there's actually a JSON stream available from the RetroArch guys as well, so that you can see, so that it's basically an API that will let us integrate that into LaunchBox. So when you pull up, when we already have the RetroArch NetPlay stuff in LaunchBox, but it's you have to manually put in like the IP address of the person you want to connect to and all that stuff. So you got to contact the person somewhere else, and this would allow us to just basically click on somebody and connect up to them. Let's see. +1 for lobby browser. So I got a couple people interested. Okay, well that's not getting as much interest as I expected. So if you guys are not interested in that, then I will mark that as not that. I see, that surprises me. That's why we're doing this, guys. There's another plus one. Okay, so there's a few more plus ones. So we're kind of torn on that one, interestingly. Okay, I'll mark that one as like yellow or something, or orange. All right, so then hyperspin style sound packs with lots of random sounds. Make it sound like an arcade. You guys, I think you guys all know what that is. I would assume you've probably all seen a video that that does something like that. When you guys say, for my sake, the comments are delayed a little bit. So when you guys say +1 to something, let me know what it is, so I know what it's for. Most people turned it off. Okay, yeah. Sound packs. We're getting lots of plus ones on NetPlay. So you know what? Let's go back to that. Make it green. What about sound packs? We do seem torn on sound packs though. All right. So let's go into image viewer zooming. This does not, honestly, this does not seem important to me. And if I had to guess, I don't think this would get a lot of votes. It's certainly not that complicated. But anyways, I did put this on because there were a few requests for it. So +1 on image zooming. We got 1. And this is in LaunchBox. We could put it in Big Box too, I guess. No interest. Never use the image viewer. No interest. Well, it's not, I mean, nothing's ever quick to implement. Can I implement it in a day? Probably. Yeah, I'm sure. Of course I can. Okay, we're really not getting any interest in this. I'm seeing like one person or 2 people who care. But remember, I'm not overhauling like the entire image functions. I saw a bunch of stuff about thumbnails and everything. That would have to be a separate item. Well, I think that's going to at least be, you know, controversial there. All right. Display platform playlist category information in the LaunchBox game details sidebar when no game is selected. So the request that I have gotten a couple times over is we have platform metadata and images displayed in Big Box, but we don't have those in LaunchBox. So what that means is, well, I mean, I guess I can demonstrate this. This is my development like trash copy of LaunchBox, so it's messed up. But let me pull up something that isn't for the most part. All right, so I don't want that. There we go. So ultimately, when you click on a platform here, it just says select a game over here. And there's no way to get at platform and metadata and images. So what this is suggesting is that that stuff is available in Big Box. It's just not available in LaunchBox. So without editing it. So what this is suggesting is that when you click on one of these, over here under, you know, in the sidebar, you would get data like you get for games. You could get the, you know, the platform video. You could get all the details on the platform, the description, and images, just like you get for games. So that's what this particular item is about. Okay, let me catch up here. Platform data. Display platform. Yeah, we're getting lots of positive feedback on that. Good. More than I expected. So we'll mark that as green. That's great. All right, next we have add sort by options to big box, another item in the alphanumeric list. So basically, right now, we, man, I don't even remember. But there's not a good way to like load up any particular list in big box and then sort it by whatever you want. There's not a good way to do that. Believe it or not, we never really added that. There are ways to do it, but you got to create a playlist and all that stuff in order to make it happen. So ultimately, what this would allow you to do is to, in any platform or any playlist, open up the alphanumeric index and then select something to sort by any particular field, and sort your games by those fields in Big Box on the fly. That's the goal for this. So we'll see what we get as far as feedback on that. Not interested. +1 sort, +1 sort, +1 sort. +1 sort, +1 sort. +1. Well, I'm not getting any negative feedback at all. All right. So that one's green too. Okay. Now this one's interesting. Integrate Mame high scores and show community scores. So basically, now supposedly, I haven't done any research on this, I'll be honest, but supposedly it's possible for a front end to somehow tap into Mame high scores and list them in LaunchBox. Now, if we're able to tap into Mame high scores and list them in LaunchBox, then we should be able to share those with the community. And if we can share those with the community, then we should be able to create leaderboards and stuff like that for particular games. So does that interest you guys? Do you like that? Nice. Okay, there's one negative on that, but I'm seeing a whole bunch of positives. I'm excited about that myself. I think that would be awesome. However, I'm a little bit worried that I won't be able to do it because I don't know how to tap into Mame high scores. Because it's interesting because is every game use the same high score format? I kind of doubt that, but there must be a way to do it because I hear that I think GameX does that. So there's got to be a way to do it, right? I'll figure it out, hopefully. I think it'd be awesome. Yeah, so we're in good shape on that one. All right, next we have the LaunchBox Games Database Collection Sync. So ultimately, you can already do that, but you can only sync to your default collection, and believe it or not, there's no way to clear it out. So I implemented it, but never really finished it. It's missing a crucial feature in that you can't clear it out. And then also, you can't sync to more than one different collection. And I should show you what that is here. A lot of people probably don't even know this exists. But if you go to the games database, and I'm not logged in, I better do that over here. Okay, so if you go to the games database and then you go to my collections, you have a list of collections. You can only sync right now to the default collection, but you can basically put your whole collection here on the web. And it's not as good of an interface as what you have in LaunchBox, but it's not bad either. I built this a long time ago and then realized that there were a whole lot less people interested in having their collection online than I thought. But it's done. It's implemented. So what do you guys think? Are you interested in that? In expanding this out so that you can actually clear it? You can have more than one collection. You can already have more than one collection, but you can't sync, for example, this one or this one. You can only sync to default collection, and there's no way to clear it. So yeah, where are you guys at on that? Let's see. Okay. Yeah, this one seems to be controversial. I'm getting a lot of both directions. Okay. So let me mark that one as yellow or orange. All right, big box top level program launching. Now this is one that I have. Well, let's talk about what it means, I guess, first. So ultimately, there are a few very adamant users that really want a way to launch an app from the main wheel. So you load up LaunchBox. You load up Big Box. This is in Big Box, and you have your list of platforms or platform categories. They want to be able to launch an app from that wheel, which is interesting. The reason why it's never been done is because it flies in the face of the structure that we have in place. However, it's certainly possible to do. The last time we put this on the poll, this was on the last poll, and it did not get very many votes. So, what's your feedback on this? Keep in mind that you can already launch programs from Big Box, of course. It's just a matter of not doing it in the root wheel. But yeah, this seems to be controversial. Although I am getting more likes than I thought I would. My concern is if we put it on the poll, it's not going to get any votes like it didn't get last time. You know what I mean? So I'm going to mark this as controversial. Disable certain controllers, such as flight sticks and multiple controllers with different bindings. I think we're referring primarily to Big Box, but I guess this also would affect LaunchBox. So basically, right now, you can have multiple controllers, but you can't configure each one differently. So that's the multiple controllers with different bindings. And there's also no way, if you select use all controllers in the controller settings, then you can't choose one and say, don't use this one, right? So that has been an issue for some people. The vast majority of people, doesn't matter, but if you happen to be one of those people that has 5 different controllers connected, it could be an issue. Okay, so I'm seeing a few positives on that. A few more positives. 1 negative. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot more positives than negatives on that one. So let's mark that one as green. Surprises me a little bit, but I'm fine with that. It makes sense. Okay, bulk edit additional apps. Now this is another one that that we have some power users that are very vocal and adamant about wanting this one. What this means is that, like, right now there's not a good way to put an additional app on a bunch of different games. So that's what you're looking at. An easy way to manage additional apps on a large number of games. Okay, I got 4 plus ones, 5 plus ones, 1 negative. One thing that's interesting about this is the interface, in order to make that happen, is not going to be easy. It's going to be an interesting design. It's like, how do you do that? Because they're all different across all the games. But I guess adding one would be easy. You just say, select all these games, let's add this particular additional app to it. That's simple. But deleting additional apps across a bunch of different games or editing them, that's not going to be so simple. I'm not sure how we're going to do that. But I can understand why this is something that people want. And it's obvious people do want it. So let's mark that as green. I can guarantee that the ones I'm marking as green here will be on the poll. So you guys are definitely... this is definitely making my job a lot easier, so I appreciate that, guys. The ones that are orange and red may not. I don't know. Obviously, you know, I haven't been marking all of them. This one, we got positive feedback on that. And positive feedback on that, but it wasn't a lot. I'm not sure on that one. Anyways, we'll come back. Let's keep going. We got a lot to work through here. A lot. So big box, trackball, spinner support for navigation. This was also on the previous poll and did not get many votes at all. And I was surprised about that. I expected people to be excited about it, but it makes sense. Not everybody's got a trackball on their cab, and not everybody has a cab, right? So it only matters for people that have a spinner or a trackball on their cab. The thought is you could, you know, just push and scroll through your wheels by just playing with a trackball, right? We do have plus ones on that. There's one negative one. And that seems to be fairly controversial on that one. Although I'm getting more pluses than I would expect. I'm gonna mark that one as orange. Time play tracking. This one is exciting. I like this one, and we talked about this one quite a bit. And it was actually on the last poll as well. It didn't do as good as I expected, though. It didn't get high enough up on the list to really implement. It really wasn't very high up there. So, but I note that it may be relatively inaccurate and may not be supported by all types of games. And the reason for that is that it's impossible to do time play tracking accurately. Even Steam, I remember, you know, if I look at my Grand Theft Auto 4 time, it's like 1,000 hours or something like that. And I did not play that game 1,000 hours. And the reason is because as long as the EXE is running, it considers it thinks you're playing the game. So that's just like one issue. There's a bunch of other issues. For example, there are games that run an EXE, launch the EXE, and then quit the EXE, and then launch something else. So it's basically, in other words, there are games that it's impossible to track. There are games that it's easier to track, and now that we have like startup and shutdown screens, we can use those to determine how long you've been playing the game, but it's still not going to be fully accurate. But I think in the most cases, it'll be accurate enough. So that's my thoughts on time play tracking. Where are you guys at? I'm getting a lot of plus ones and a few negatives. Interesting. Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to mark that as controversial because we got quite a few negative ones in there. All right. Proper support for good sets. Oh boy. Honestly, unless we get some feedback, I'm ready to knock this one out and mark it red. It didn't. I'm surprised. I forgot I had this one on there. I almost took it off. Basically, if you all know what good sets are, they're basically they're not recommended for emulation at all because they're just wasted space. It's every version ever found, every RIP ever found for a particular game in a zip file, and the issue is that most of them are not even good RIPs. So these days, it used to be that it was a good approach, but these days it's really not. But there are some people that like to archive that stuff. So basically, what it would do is, you import your zip file that has 20 different ROM versions of the same game, and it would let you pick which one you want to run from inside the zip file when you start it up. This was on the poll last time and did not get very many votes at all. Lots of -1s, a few +1s. That's good enough for me. Let's mark that red. So that won't be on the poll. All right, font and color customization in the default big box theme. This didn't get as many votes. It was on the previous poll. Didn't get as many votes as there were a few adamant users about it, but it didn't get very many votes last time on the previous poll. So where are you guys at? Basically, just the ability to use the default theme. There are, it's interesting, there are a number of users that just are diehards about that default theme, which is funny because I'm not the best designer in the world, guys. And that's the only theme that I designed myself, right? So, but that's interesting. I'm glad people like that default theme. But there are people that really, really like that default theme that want just a few tweaks here and there, like color customization and font size and different fonts and stuff like that. So where are we at on that one? -1, +1, +1, +1, -1, -1. This looks pretty controversial. There's not a lot of, I mean, it's yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to mark that as orange. All right. That's weird. I'm anal retentive, can you tell? It's stupid stuff, but I got to make the colors match. All right. Customizable alphabetic sorting in addition to sort title. Okay, another one that there's a few very vocal users on. One of those things that comes up constantly that was on the last poll that just did not get very many votes at all. So basically, you can already customize sort however you want, but you have to do it through a sort title. You have to put a custom sort title in order to move a game in the sort. But there are people that, so right now LaunchBox will ignore articles like the and a and an and all that stuff in the sort, so that, for example, The Witcher 3 shows up under Witcher 3 instead of The Witcher 3, which is really, I mean, that's the proper way to sort things alphabetically in the English language and always has been, right? But there are people that want to put it under the instead. So this would provide you with additional granular sort options for the default sort that lets you specify, no, I don't want to do that, and some other similar things, I would imagine. So where are you guys at on the sort? There are some +1s. I'm getting more +1s than I thought. And some negatives. The thing is, if we put this on the poll, are people really going to vote for it? Because they didn't last time. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm going to make this orange. Per game Autohotkey script support. So we've added a bunch of stuff recently per game with the pause screens. So we already have pause screen Autohotkey script support. But right now, for stuff like PC games, if you want to add a Autohotkey script that runs while you're running a PC game and you want it specific to only that game, there's no way to do that. The only way to do that right now is on an emulator by emulator basis. So ultimately, we're talking adding the ability to do a per game Autohotkey script, which basically means you can customize every single game, customize that Autohotkey script for every single game individually. Looking through here, so obviously some pretty vocal people who want it. I'm not seeing any negatives on this. Oh, there's one. I'm going to make that green, guys. We're getting a lot of positive feedback on that one. All right. Now, previous and next buttons in the LaunchBox edit window. If I recall correctly, I think this was on the last poll, but it just didn't get that many votes. But I don't think it was near the bottom. I think it was in the middle or something. So basically, this is something that honestly has been requested for a long time. But I don't know. It's not that interesting. but people want the ability. So say you're editing, it's mainly for manual edits. I mean, for anal retentive people like me, probably, right? So they want the ability to review all the metadata here for one game and then hit next and go to the next one and review all the metadata and hit next and go to the next one and review all the metadata. That kind of thing, right? Just next through the list instead of having to go like this, edit one by one, you know what I mean? So, and I understand how that could be useful. Not that exciting, but I mean, what do you guys think? Lots of positives on that. Okay, I'll make that green. All right, Scummvm Improvements. Again, this was on the poll, the previous poll. I think right now we're going through stuff that was on the previous poll, but didn't get many votes. To be honest, it's been a while since I dove into Scummvm in this detail, but this would allow you to use a custom game that isn't in our list yet, and then also attempt to auto scan what game it is from the folder. Because I believe there's a way to do that these days that didn't used to exist or something like that when we implemented it the first time. Not that exciting, you know. It's only going to affect a few games here or there, but and it didn't get many votes last time. Wow, quite a bit of negative. There are some positives. I'll give it a second. Looks like we're torn on that one. So let's make that one orange. Okay, Big Box Parental Restrictions. This was on the previous poll as users, like login users, but I changed my mind. To me, it doesn't make any sense at all to create a user system for LaunchBox and Big Box. And the reason for that is if you want a completely different setup, you want different games, just create a separate instance. I don't understand why you would want user support. What I do understand, because I'm in the situation myself, is restricting games to, for your kids, so that your kids can't play mature games, stuff like that. So that is what this is about. So we already have the lock code, right, in Big Box. What this would do is hide games rated with certain ratings. You'll be able to check which games, what to display in the options, so that you display. You would hide M-rated games. You would hide teen games, for example, if you wanted to, stuff like that. And the ratings will be customizable, so you can use whatever system you want in your ratings, and then mark whether each rating is to show up in locked mode. That's what I'm envisioning for this. We could add a user system back in, but it just seems overly complicated, and it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, to be honest. If every user is going to have different games, create a different instance for that user and use the Windows login system. That's what I've got in mind there. But let's see what the feedback is. Parental makes no sense. Wow, there's a lot of negatives on this. What do you guys have against this? No kidding. I'll be honest, this is one of those things that I've wanted to add personally for a long time, but I just have not found the support for it, so I never did. But yeah, we are definitely torn on this. This is not positive feedback. And I think what it boils down to is that people who this is one of the things I'm going to add in eventually regardless, because it's something I want personally. So eventually, and I know all the parents want it. But I think what it comes down to is if you got kids, you want it. If you don't care and you don't want it. So that's probably the reason for the negativity and the controversy and stuff like that. So I'm gonna mark this as yellow, and it may not end up on the poll because I know it's probably not going to get voted that high, but it is something I'll do eventually. Yeah, just because if it's something I want, I'm going to build it at some point, right? So automatic multi-disc playlist creation for RetroArch. This is kind of complicated. So in RetroArch, if you want to use a game with multiple discs, what you can do is you can create an M3U playlist. I think it's an M3U. Yeah, an M3U playlist, which is basically just a text file with a list of files in it that list out the discs. Basically, the ROM files that represent the discs. And then you can use a keyboard shortcut in RetroArch, and then also you can do this from the pause screen. Use a keyboard shortcut to switch between the discs that were in the playlist on the fly. So what this would do is automatically create those playlists so that you can, do it easier without having to manually create the playlist. So where are we at on that? So we got lots of +1s. We've got a few. RetroArch is bad. Goodness. A few negatives. Generally, this looks generally favorable, actually. So I'm going to mark that as green. Backup and restore options for data and settings. So ultimately, this is obvious. And to be honest, if you want to back up and restore your data and your settings, all you have to do is copy the data folder somewhere else, and restoring it is just copying it back over and deleting the one that's there. So there's nothing to this. It's super simple, but we would provide an interface to just do that for you. So on the fly, you can copy your data folder, make a zip backup of it or something, and then restore it later. I don't envision this supporting media because that would be too big and take too long, right? So this wouldn't include your media. But if you just want to back up your data to be safe, which we already do behind the scenes, but it's not, you can't manually do it and then save a copy from a particular date. So this would allow you to do that, Click a button, it backs up your whole collection, puts a date on it, and then you can click on it and restore at any time. So one thing that's nice about this is if you don't want to mess anything up, you can hit the backup button and know that you can safely restore it at any time and go back to your previous stuff. So where are we at on backup? Mostly positive, it looks like. There's a lot of feedback on backups, but there are a few negatives. But I think I'm going to mark that as green because you're getting a lot of feedback on it. All right. The Big Box wall view overhaul. So back when I built the wall view for Big Box, it just wasn't very fleshed out. There's a bunch of stuff. Honestly, this is one that I need to flesh out and figure out what the heck that even means, because I haven't looked at it recently. But I know a lot of the theme developers really want me to, the Big Box theme developers really want me to tackle this one. So basically, Critical Sid especially, but basically, +1 wall view. There he is. Yeah. So ultimately, it's just kind of crappy. We just didn't do much with it. It doesn't work that well. There's not a lot of options. So the wall view needs some extra features. Where are we at on that? Quite a few positives, couple negatives. Yeah, that's green. Cool. And then this is a screenshot grabber. So basically, all it would do is you'd be able to do this from the pause screen, I would imagine, or just maybe create a shortcut key to do it in game, or a key combination to do it in game, and it would automatically take a screenshot of the game and attach it to LaunchBox, so that it would show up in that game screenshots. Is the goal. Well, here's the thing. There's a lot more functionality to it than just pressing print screen. That's not really even that's not what it's about. Because if you press print screen, you still have to paste the image somewhere. You got to save the image somewhere and then manually add it to the game later on. So this is basically just automating that process. Wow. I'm seeing, well, okay. It's getting more positive as it goes on. But seems to be kind of controversial here. We're getting some negative feedback. There's so many +1s though. I'm gonna make that green. I feel like that would be a major win for a lot of people. But anyways, so RetroArch already does it. Just some. Oh, I guess. But would RetroArch already put it on the game in LaunchBox? Because that's what we're missing right now. Because like you can take all the screenshots you want, but if you can't easily track it to a particular game in LaunchBox, then everything becomes a lot more difficult. So that's the point there. That's also not difficult to do, so it'd be pretty quick to implement. Anyways, Big Box theme specific settings are next. Save and restore settings for each theme. So one of the annoying things right now in Big Box, if you like to switch themes on a regular basis, we do have theme specific settings, which is nice and solves some of the problems. But for example, if you want to load up Unified and you want certain views in Unified, and then you switch to a different theme, for example, City Hunter, and you want a different set of themes for your platforms in City Hunter, and you want to be able to switch those themes whenever you want, you can't remember a separate set of settings for City Hunter than you have for Unified. So this would allow you to do that, basically. Where are we at on that? There's some positives. Lots of positives. And no negatives. There's one negative. But yeah, I'm seeing lots of positives on this. Okay. We'll mark that as green. Okay, indicator icon for games with multiple versions available. So you know how we use additional apps to list out different versions of a ROM. So you import your Mame full set, for example, and they're combined. So when you right-click on the game in LaunchBox, you can load up the different versions of that particular game, right? So when there are multiple versions available, right now you don't know that there's multiple versions available until you right-click. So this would put some kind of icon or something like that optionally on the games, and somehow in Big Box as well, although I don't know exactly how we do that at this point. But we put an icon on the game box to show that there are multiple versions available for that game, and potentially show how many, but I'm not certain on that. Where are we at on that? Let's see. Yeah, there's quite a bit of positives on that. What the heck are you saying, Supertune? No piracy? What does that even mean? Come on, dude. All right, +1. +1. Yeah, that's this massively yes on that, it looks like. So that's a good. All right, and then bulk edit platform and move media. So basically, when you bulk edit games, you can bulk edit the platform field. If you bulk edit the platform field, then basically the media will not come with it right now. I was talking to Exodos, or Exo, not Exodos, sorry Exo. I was talking to Exo, and one of the issues that he's dealing with right now, he's trying to clean some things up in the LaunchBox interface. And one of his issues is he can't mass move games to a new platform because the media doesn't come along with it. So that is an issue that needs fixed. And it is a fix, but the reason why I haven't tackled it just because it's a fix is because it's not a massive job, but it's a big job. And it feels like we need a new interface for it. And I mean, it can be a big thing to work through. So, but right now the issue is if you're dividing up a platform, I mean, if you're just renaming a platform, it's easy to rename the folder, right? But if you're dividing up a platform, good luck, because you got to divide up the media, and you're better off just forgetting about it and starting over. So, anyways, looking at lots of positives and no negatives. So that one's obviously green. Ausschlanik. Hiding platforms. That might be on the list. That might actually be on the list. We will, I tell you what though, guys, for those of you just recently joining the stream, what we're doing right now is we're going through the list of items I already have here and discussing how, how whether people want them or not. And then when we get to the end, I'll start taking new feature requests and we'll add to this list and go from there. So option to reverse sort order in LaunchBox. We're over halfway, guys. We got something like 50 items, so we're over halfway. We're getting there. Option to reverse sort order in LaunchBox. So basically, there are default sort orders that make sense based on what you're arranging by, but there's no way to reverse the sort. So, for example, I guess I can load up LaunchBox and show it quick. There it goes. For example, if you arrange by title, of course it's going to be, you can't reverse that sort order. If you arrange by release date, I think that's chronological, but depending on what you're arranging by, like play count, for example, it is reverse order, so it basically arranges it based on what makes the most sense. But the thing is, like, you can't reverse it if you want to reverse it for that particular category. So that's what it's about, just, being able to reverse the sort order when you want to. I don't know exactly how we would do that, but, it wouldn't be that hard to do. Probably add an icon or something. Where are we at on that? Meh. +1, +1, +1, +1. Meh. There's definitely way more +1s than -1s. I'm going to go ahead and make that green, even though, honestly, I doubt that's going to get people interested enough for it to be high up on the poll, but we'll see. All right, new 4x3 unified theme for Big Box. So, ultimately, you guys know the unified themes. We've got unified and Retro Humanoids, amazing version of it, and the Redux version of it. Unified is everywhere these days. And for good reason. Critical Sid built an amazing theme on that. But it's been a popular request that people want the unified theme for their 4x3 monitors. It's not that hard to do. It's pretty easy to do. But one of the challenges with it is we need 4x3 videos. We do have some 4x3 videos though. There are some. And actually, the new videos that Viking is creating, the colorful 4K videos, they work fine in 4x3 format because you can just lop off the sides and it doesn't make any difference, right? So those are great for this as well. So I guess we do have videos. It's just a matter of making that theme work properly in a 4x3 environment. And I put it on the poll. I usually wouldn't put like theme stuff like this on the poll, but I've seen that come up so much that I ended up putting it up here. So where are you guys on that? I know most people don't have a 4x3 monitor on their cab these days. So I'm getting lots of -1s on that. Okay, that's a red. I'm not getting very much positive feedback on that at all. So yeah, forget that one. All right. Allow showing, hiding different view types individually when in Big Box when locked. So this is another one with some very, very vocal users, right? I had previously implemented the ability to hide whether you can switch the view types. So in Big Box, in the system menu, the main menu, you can view your platforms, view your platform categories, view your genres, view all the different sort types, right? All the different ways to filter your games. And there's a way to stop that from coming from being displayed if Big Box is locked. So, but there's not a way to granularly do it so that you can disable certain items from that list. So you can disable genres. It seems like a dumb little thing, but there's people that are really adamant about being able to do that. So let me hear it. What do you guys feel about that? Not a lot of opinions, but I'm getting more negative opinions than positive opinions here. What do y'all think? It's definitely controversial. So we'll put that up here as controversial. Okay. Custom game and platform specific controller mappings. So this is your controller companion XPatter replacement. Now, I've been torn on this one for a long time because it's like, why would we implement something when there's apps out there that do it already? Well, why? And the only reason why I would envision doing this is because if you do it in LaunchBox, then it's easier to configure game by game and game specific. It's just going to be more straightforward as far as doing separate controller mappings for each game or each platform. That's going to be more straightforward. This is a big job, guys. It's a big job. It's a whole app, right? There are whole apps that do this. So it's not going to be quick. It's going to take a long time, just like, the startup screens and pause screens did. So it's a lot of time. It's a big time commitment. But I know there are people that really want this. And I know it would be really useful for some people. The other thing about it is I'm not convinced that it's obviously a power user feature. It's not something everybody's going to use. And it's going to be something that wreaks havoc as far as support. Because there's going to be there's going to be a lot of people confused about how to use it. And it's going to be, it could create quite a mess. So anyways, I don't know. I'm torn on this one. But we're getting lots of positives on it. A lot of positives. Yeah, controller mapping is not something that I use either. I don't see very many positives for it. And the thing is, if I'm gonna use it, it's gonna be a one-off thing for one particular platform or one particular game. And in that case, you might as well use controller, companion, or XPatter. So I don't know. I really don't understand the mass appeal for this, but there definitely does seem. Well, I'm getting a lot of negatives now. Maybe I should be more careful to be a little bit less forthright in my own opinion here. I don't know. Okay, I'm going to mark that as controversial. We're getting lots of negatives these days. Or these days, what the heck does that mean? In the last few minutes. So option to name media. This is a big one, all right? This has been a controversial thing from the beginning, and I will admit that I made a lot of people angry with this decision. So basically, when we first tackled LaunchBox, and when I first built LaunchBox, I based it on all the media gets named based on the title of the game and not the ROM file name. So what that means is if you have a ROM file, I don't know, that's called baseball, and the game is called MLB Baseball 2019, it's going to use, for the image name, it uses MLB Baseball 2019 and not just baseball. Now, historically in the past, almost everybody else has always used the ROM file name. But here's the problem with that. You can't use the ROM file name for PC games. It's not possible. It doesn't, because the PC game EXE names are not unique, right? So it only works for console type platforms that have a specific set number of games in a single folder. But I will admit that it does make things simpler in that regard. So what this is about is allowing you to specify where possible to name media based on the ROM file name instead of the game titles. One of the reasons why I've held off on this for so long is because it's complicated, because now you need two different solutions if you're going to do that. Because depending on the platform, you need either to use the game title or use the ROM file name. But this will allow you to specify for this platform, or for platforms that, yeah, I guess we'll probably do it on a platform by platform basis, to name media files based on the ROM file name instead of the game titles. Where are we at on that? Media naming. Positive, negative, positive, 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 negative, negative, positive, negative, positive, positive, negative. So, as far as why people would want this is definitely controversial as far as the feedback that I'm getting here. But as far as why people want this, one of the biggest reasons why people want this is better compatibility between multiple front ends. So you've got the guys that like to run both LaunchBox and Hyperspin, and have them both and use the same media folders. And for those people, it does work to do that, but any media that you add to your collection through LaunchBox then doesn't show up in Hyperspin. So it's basically the guys that want to run multiple front ends that want this the most. At least that's my understanding. There is no other front end. All right, let's see. I'm getting a lot of positives here. Well, not a lot, a few extra positives. I'm going to mark this as controversial because we're back and forth on this one. All right. And I expect this because most people probably don't run multiple front ends, and so they don't care. It's... All right, Amiga WHD name conversion. Now, I'll be honest, I know nothing about Amiga WHD because I've never emulated it personally. So I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I'll do the research and get it figured out if we tackle this. So basically, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, I really don't know, but I've heard this from several users. So basically, Amiga is like Mame and has short names in the file names. And we need the ability to replace those with game titles, like Mame does. So that when you import Amiga, it doesn't come in with a bunch of short names that don't make any sense. Where are we at on that? Definitely seem to be controversial so far, although I'm getting more positives here. One of my other hesitations here is I just don't think this is going to get a whole lot of votes because it's not an exciting, big, flashy feature. That's the stuff that tends to get votes. But anyways, we're getting more positives though. I don't know. I'm going to give it a minute more because I can't decide what to put this on, either green or orange. There's definitely more positives than negatives at this point. So, I'll make it a green. All right. So, icons for types of controls. This one's interesting. This is a new one. This wasn't on the previous poll, I don't think. And it's complicated. For one thing, so basically in Big Box or LaunchBox, somewhere you would display the type of control used for each game. And for platforms like Wii, where every single game uses a different type of controller, and it has different controller options. You've got the classic controller, you've got the nunchuck, with the main Wii controller or the Wiimote. You have just the Wiimote. There's all these different control types, and each game supports different ones. keep in mind with this is going to be manual work, right? I don't have a database that has that information currently. We could add that if it exists somewhere, but it may end up being manual work for you to specify what icon goes on what game. Just laying that out there. We're not, and that's just for Wii. So like for the rest of the platforms, most platforms are going to use the same controller for every game. So obviously NES is going to use an NES controller, right? And we would have a set number of icons that you could customize and add your own icons. And you would specify, you could bulk edit which games use which icons and display them in the game details, likely, would be my guess. We're getting some positives here. Lots of positives. A few negatives. But I'm getting way more positives than negatives. Yeah, you would definitely be able to set your own icons. I'm definitely seeing more positives than negatives on that. More than I would have expected. So we'll mark that as green. Okay. This one's interesting. And actually, this has been one that, again, EXO. I'm bringing up EXO quite a bit here. But this has been one that he has been pushing for, and it's LaunchBox Games Database allow mapping same games between platforms and show in LaunchBox Big Box. So one of the reasons why we did not, we've never added a way. So basically, you're on a game. Say you're in MS DOS, and you've got a game called maybe Lemmings, right? So you're looking at Lemmings in DOS. You want to know what other platforms Lemmings is available on. It's available on Amiga. It's available on NES. Is it? I don't know. I think it's on NES or SNES, one of the two. What other platforms is available on? Now, the challenge there is we don't have data for that. We don't have data that says that the Lemmings on NES is the same Lemmings that's on DOS. So there's complications there. Now we could do some kind of further checks to see if it's from the same developer, the same publisher, and if it is, we can take a guess. But we don't know that data. We don't have good data on that. So what we would do though, is we would add this functionality somehow to the LaunchBox Games database, and you would be able to specify on the games database the other games that are connected to this game. And then we would pull that information down to LaunchBox itself. All right, so where are we at on that? It seems to be torn right now. Yeah. It would be crowdsourced because we don't have the data. But people seem to be torn on it. It is a big job, believe it or not. So I'm going to make that orange. Okay, view images and view videos from the pause screen. So we built the pause screen, but we never added an image viewer or a video viewer directly on that pause screen. I don't know that. Well, I mean, yeah, I'm not sure why you would want this. It's cool, but why do you need it? I don't know. But if people want it, we'll build it, right? So where are you guys at on that? You can already view documents, and you can already view images if you put them in as additional apps. So say you have a document or an image of some sort that has your manual or your hints or stuff like that. You can already do that. That's already there. That's already available. You just put it in as an additional app or put it in as the manual, and you can view it. Any number of documents and images that way. What you can't do is view the video, and you can't take a look at your screenshots and fan art images and all that stuff from within the pause screen. Again, I don't know why you want it, but maybe somebody can explain it to me, because it has come up a few times. Looks like we're fairly torn on that. Yeah. All right. That's orange. Okay. Now the next. See, we're at the end. Woo! We're almost at the end. So the next thing is we have API importers for a bunch of different things. Um, so there are some hesitations here because not all of these people, not all these companies have official support for APIs and integrations. That's one negative. So we could wake up one day and they've changed everything and this stuff no longer works after we build it. That's one potential negative thing for these. Another potential negative thing is some of these are small, and the smaller it is, the less important it is. Another negative is all you need is the shortcuts for the games, and you can import the games just fine. So in most of these cases, as long as they're installed, there's not that much point for doing the API, because you can just drag the shortcuts on the LaunchBox and import the games like anything else. But it will certainly make it easier for people. It'll make people feel better to be able to import their entire collections, installed games and not installed, and then also to just make it easier to import games from these various platforms. So I know it's going to be platform by platform as far as what people are interested in. But let's get a general idea for all of them together here first, I guess. It is a lot of negatives. I'm surprised. So you guys aren't really that interested in these, huh? I will admit the reason why this has come up, the biggest reason why this came up is the GOG Galaxy 2.0 thing. But I don't know how excited people are about that. I don't know if that's important. Basically, GOG Galaxy 2.0 is going to support all these different platforms so that you can display all the games automatically from the platforms, whether they're installed or not. So that's why it's up on my list. I'm getting a lot of negatives, though. Like, more negatives than positives, which really surprises me. It does work with Steam, although we've had some major issues with that integration to the point where we had to, because Steam kept killing our API key for some stupid reason, stupid Steam, we had to have the user get their own API key. So we had to change that, which is dumb. That's not how it's supposed to work. But because Steam kept killing our key, now every user has their own API key, which is just dumb. But it is what it is. So we have had some issues with the Steam implementation. But the Steam implementation is official. It's public. Everybody knows about it. It's something that they advertise. But not every one of these companies has a public API. So some of the APIs are, not going to be as reliable. Yeah, stupid Steam. Oh man, I could get on it. I could get on it. I love GOG. I really do. I'm not going to get on that soapbox right now, but I'm not a fan of Steam these days. Anyways. So ultimately, we're torn on that, on all of them. Now, okay, if I was going to do any of them, which ones do you guys want to see? If I was going to do any of these, GOG, Battle.net, Bethesda, Epic, itch.io, Origin, Twitch, and Uplay, what do you want to see? My guess is it would be GOG. But what do you guys want to see? GOG. Yeah, that's what I figured. Okay. So there's definitely everybody wants GOG. Are there any others that people want badly? GOG, Origin, Uplay. GOG and Epic. I'm going to mark GOG green. GOG, Uplay, Origin. Epic. Well, obviously the four of the people are interested in are GOG, Epic, Origin, and Uplay. Although I don't really know if we have enough GOG and Microsoft Store. I don't even have that one on the list. I'm not sure how feasible that would be. All right. Question is, because so many people were not interested in this, do I mark them as green or orange? All right, everybody, I'm having trouble with this. Everybody in favor of putting Epic, Origin, and Uplay on the poll, give me a +1. Everybody not in favor of putting Epic, Origin, and Uplay on the poll, give me a -1. All right, I'm getting at least as many negatives as I am positives. So I'm going to mark the rest of these as orange. Which means, and honestly, I'm guessing these won't be on the poll, which surprises me. But I'm fine with that. I really am. Okay. Option to force update games database metadata. So basically what this is when you do a scan, you know what? The other thing I'm going to do, so Uplay, Origin, and Epic, we're going to mark these that nobody cared about as red, because literally nobody cares, from what I can gather. So the only four that matter are GOG, Epic, Origin, and Uplay, and Uplay, Origin, and Epic were controversial. So there we go. Now, option to force update games database metadata. So ultimately, when you do a scan for metadata, you do an import, you do an update media and metadata. It downloads an updated metadata package for everything, and it uses that for all the game scanning. But it would be nice to be able to do that manually in some cases. So all this is going to do is just provide you an option to force it. And then the same thing for updates. The next one is updates. To force an update check. Currently, what you've got to do is for manual updates. I mean, we have background updates as well. But for manual updates, it's just a matter of making sure you have updates enabled and then restarting LaunchBox. So this will provide a separate manual update check. Sounds like we're getting lots of positive feedback on both. I probably should have done them individually. But yeah, lots of positive feedback. Automatic updates are not broken at the moment. PTL. If they were broken, then I'd have an army after me. All right, so yeah, I'm getting tons of +1. So I'm going to mark both of these as green. Okay, retro achievements, gamer score, profile, and leaderboards. So this was on. I can't remember if this. I don't remember if this was on the previous poll. Yeah, it was. It was on the previous poll, and it actually got a good number of votes. But we got to it, and we're like, add things to retro achievements, and then I was taking feedback on it, and yeah, so this got a lot of votes on the previous poll. So I'm guessing you guys are going to want this on this poll. But the thing is, like, we weren't specific about it as far as what to add. So gamer score, I think these are the most popular things that people are going to want in addition to the retro achievement stuff that we already have. People want their gamer score somewhere in LaunchBox. They want their profile somewhere in LaunchBox, and they want leaderboards. So there's two types of leaderboards I would envision. One is game-specific leaderboards, and the other one would be global leaderboards, right? So where are we at on this stuff for achievements? Lots of positives. There's a few negatives in here, but definitely a lot of positives. So we'll mark that as green. Coolio. All right, so there it is. If we go back up, there's a few up here that I need to colorize that I never did. I'm going to save this. Back before I figured out exactly how we were going to do this, I didn't colorize these, so I need help on these 3 items before we get to new items here. So new CRT theme for Big Box. Let's do a +1, -1 test on that. Where were we at on that? I don't remember. -1s. Thank you, 3D Imagination. Yeah, I'll go over that in a second. Thanks for bringing that up. Wow, that's a lot of negatives. Yeah, okay. I'm going to call that red. Nobody's interested. All right. Then next we have Marquis Video Support. I'm guessing that one's green. Let's do a +1, -1 real quick on Marquis Video Support. It's quite a few +1s. Okay, yep. We'll make it green. And then this one's important. But we've already discussed it. So we're adding a bunch of fields that are on the games database into LaunchBox itself, including alternate names, game type, max players, Wikipedia link, and video link. Where are we at on that? Lots of +1s on that. No, that's Marquis. Metadata. Yeah, metadata. We're on metadata now, guys. Where are we at? Lots of +1s. So that one's green. Good. Okay. Thank you. So that covers everything. I will guarantee you that all the green items on this list will be on the poll. Let's see, there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So there are 26 items that will definitely be on the poll. The red ones will not be on the poll. The orange ones will may or may not end up on the poll, depending on what else we come up with and how I determine their priorities over what we've got here. So thank you guys so far for all this help. This is wonderful. This has really helped me out. Let's. I want to go show you guys one more thing, or a couple more things actually from 3D Imagination here that he brought up to me yesterday. Let me pull that up here on my other monitor. Where is it? Where is it? I don't want to pull up his message to me though. I need to just pull stuff out of it. So this first thing is a demo video that I'll talk through here. I need to pull it up on YouTube. Or actually, he's talking through it. So I'll just play this. We'll play it live. Except, you know what? I have my audio disabled, so I got to do something about that. Give me a second. Hopefully this works. I forgot I would need system audio. Device default. I think that'll do it. Okay. So here we go. This is a video that 3D Imagination sent me yesterday, and I thought it was cool. So let's go ahead and where's my audio? Maybe it's muted here. All right, well, I'll just talk through
Jason,
it. It's not going to play his voice, but that doesn't matter.
Show you
so basically, his idea is to
so essentially it would be like a screensaver
just
mode
display a whole bunch of videos
and that
with
would allow you to
kind of in a track mode kind of thing.
So
but at
user
any point
can
in
make a
time, you can
selection
come back
or,
and select the video
system
with your controller
or all your games,
as it
whatever
scrolls,
it may be, and you get an
either
infinity
view details on the game or play the game.
When
right?
somebody walks up to
So
the
this is
system,
his
they can
idea,
touch
and I
the
really like
joystick
the idea.
or
It's
the
really
gamepad
neat.
or whatever they're using, and maybe a white highlight,
towards the end of the
record,
video,
highlight,
he will go
sort,
through
whatever
and
the
show,
thing may be,
you know, what
pops
type
up
of interface
around the
he's
video
doing
or
for
image, and
navigation.
they
He
can
sent me this a couple
select
days ago,
the game
and I
they
thought it
see
was
that
pretty
catches
cool.
their eye.
The,
you know, depending
the
upon system performance.
difficult thing about
maybe
this,
videos are an
I'm
option.
not sure if it's
images are an
possible.
option.
I'll be
maybe
honest.
sound
I
that's
don't
played.
know if this is
Can all be
even
options,
possible,
scalable
because in order
features,
to
but
implement
I think that's
this,
something unique.
you have
would be a
to,
great feature for LaunchBox or Big Box.
play,
So if you have
I don't know,
any
what,
questions, feel
40
free to
different videos
contact
at a
me,
time?
And I look forward to hearing from you.
So,
Thanks.
is it possible? I don't know. And you see the white bar here. He's loading up certain games like that, you know. So that's the example. You navigate through the list, select a game, and you can play it live. So that's neat. I really like it. It's really cool. Is it going to be possible? I don't know. And I am hesitant to put stuff on the poll that I don't know that I can implement. The reason why it might not be possible is because it could be a major performance issue. There's a reason why you don't see 40 videos playing on a regular basis on a computer, because you got to stream those from disk and process 40 videos at once. So I don't know if that's feasible or not, but I want to get you guys' feedback on that, because I will put it on the poll and try at least, right? With a caveat that it might be possible, might not be possible. So let's see what you guys' feedback is on that one. Oh, double audio. Whoops. Mute. Okay. Sorry. Well, I don't know why I didn't get audio, but you guys did. Whatever. Where are we at on this? Other than the double audio issues, guys, what do you guys think about that? -1, -1, -1, +1, +1. But we seem torn on that. I'm surprised you guys aren't more excited about that, I'll be honest. Well, okay. The lackluster response on top of the difficulty of implementing it and the fact that I don't even know that I can means I guess I'll leave it off the list. All right. And then there's one other thing from 3D Imagination here that I want to look at, and he's calling it sort of a play choice mode. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with play choice arcade games, where basically you put in a quarter and you get 5-10 minutes of gameplay, right? And so he's talking about adding something similar to that to LaunchBox and Big Box, where it would be a new challenge where LaunchBox gives you, LaunchBox gives you 5 minutes to play the game and see how far you can get. The thing is, we couldn't really tie into every single game and calculate scores and stuff like that, but we could add something like that. That was a neat idea that he had. I'll be completely honest. It's not something that I'm personally interested in, but I can see that being an exciting thing for some people. So where are you guys at on that? Okay. Wow, lots of negatives. All right. Well, thank you, 3D Imagination, for those ideas. I still think they're pretty cool, but we're not getting lots of positive responses. So I guess we'll move on from those. Next, ideas, guys. We're on to ideas. What do y'all want to add to this list? Now, I realize that not everybody has been here the entire stream. This is going to be a challenge because I know it's going to be a lot for me to dig through, but I'll do my best here, all right? Option to hide platforms. I'm just gonna like brainstorm and put some stuff down as quick as I can, and we can discuss them later, maybe. Edit titles inline without having to go through the edit dialog. Just a shortcut. That doesn't seem... We already have a shortcut, don't we? Switch big box, year-only format. Wow, I'm so gonna fall behind here. Auto backup emulator saves. Dead zone settings. Dual monitor support in LaunchBox. Interesting. Minecraft mod packs. Loot boxes. WYSIWYG for notes. Okay. Let's see. More fields for audits. Audit more than one platform. You can already import any EXEs you want into Big Box. Random game for Big Box with filters. So we already have similar stuff to that, but I do see that coming up. Daphne importer, Parsec integration. More customization outside of Big Box. I need specifics, guys. That's just too broad. Performance on low spec machines. Yeah. Honestly, with the decisions that we made, which I believe are good decisions, we're limited. We can only do so much. We're using the WPF engine, which is excellent and has enabled so many things, but it's just straight up not going to be the most performant thing in the world. So I'm always working on performance. And you guys know I've made performance improvements all over the place, but is it ever going to be like super, super fast on crap machines? Nope, it's not. Sorry. Backup saves is a good idea, yeah. This is going to get messy fast. Find a way to sort things out. Yeah, I know. It's going to be messy. There's no good way to do this, really. The Big Box theme creator. We have somebody from the community working on that already. And that's a whole big discussion. Set the default emulator per game from the additional apps menu in Big Box. Oh, yeah. Did I? Yeah, I don't think I added that. Default emulator for additional apps. Choose emulator to run. All right. Where are we at? Show. Big Box add favorite shortcut. Don't we? Well, I guess we maybe don't. I don't know. Marquis Customization, which is already done via themes, but to be able to do it without, I mean, I guess that makes sense. Guys, I got so much stuff coming in. If I can't understand it, I'm just having to skip over it. So make sure I can understand it. Default emulator for game in Big Box. Yeah. Okay. There's also a lot of things being requested that already exist, guys. Switch to Big Box from LaunchBox. That's certainly already there. Big Box show content, easy to scroll menu items, think Steam Big Picture. Menu on left, games on right. I don't know. I don't know what that means. Add more platforms to online database. Ah, yes. Okay. Multiple save states for pause screen. Easier Wii U emulation. I'm not sure how that's difficult. Hiding platforms I already have. Default theme auto loads games on recent favorites menu because tracked wheel got confused how to... Oh yeah, there's a bug. There is a bug there. It's rare, but there is a bug. If you put it on the... Yeah. I know about that bug, and that's on my personal list, revived. Okay. We're getting lots on save states. We got Big Box VR. We tried to get interest on that a while ago. LaunchBox Battle Royale mode. What does that mean? Support for virtual discs on Windows games. Ah, yeah. I don't know how we would do that, though. I don't think that's... Because, like... Windows games don't work well anyways. I mean, the old ones don't. Virtual discs, I would love to have that, but there's other programs that do that, and honestly, that's going to be major, major work to add that, so that's probably not something LaunchBox should tackle. Booster the Rooster, per game setting config for PS2 emulation. There's a plugin that does that, so that's what I'd recommend. Media cleanup. So media cleanup, display but don't delete automatically. Bad way to put it, but I get it. Discord integration. Sure, I can see that being beneficial. Android TV front end. Well, I would hope that the Android item would cover that. Platform theme video list. So I'm skipping over stuff that's already possible, guys. And stuff that's already on the list. All right, so... Well, see, that's already possible too. This bulk optimization stuff is already possible. Set default version of a game in Big Box additional apps. Yeah, we already have that on the list. Linux version, sorry, not happening. We're not getting enough feedback on that, not enough positive feedback on that. Android version is definitely going to be on the poll, and I would expect that to be coming. Audit extra fields. Random game selector in Big Box. I think I added that to the list, right? Yep. Option to make me play games better. PS4 home button for pause screen. Sure. Yes. Xbox controller and PS4 controller special button support. We already have a way to launch key mappers per game. Per game Autohotkey scripts. That's additional apps will allow you to do that. Retro achievements on pause screen. I think they're already there. Yeah, they're already there. Export audit data. Oh, yeah, you can already do that, just not one platform at a time. I think I already added that. Tally total money spent on a game in Mame. Huh. Well, that's cool. Okay. Sorry, Dan, I'm not open sourcing LaunchBox and BigBox. You can already add plugins. So allow community to contribute to code. That's already possible, dude. As much as I'm going to let it. Because it's my job. And I don't want my job to disappear. Let's see. Charge more for lifetime so you keep doing this. Thank you, Dan, but I think I'm happy with the price point. Image categories for guidebooks, magazines, and maps. Are those images usually, or are they PDFs? The current approach for that, by the way, is to use an additional app. So, I mean, it works. Smart TV app. That's probably not going to happen, unfortunately. Multiple instances. I've heard that one recently. Some of these, I'm guessing some of these are going to be like one guy. I'll be honest. So like at some point, we're going to want to stop and go through and get votes on these that I'm adding here. Prioritize duplicate ROMs. It should be doing that, although maybe it's not doing it in the way you want. Marquee positions. Although I have something similar. That's already on the list. AHK for individual games. More image categories for cassette and handheld device. Although you can just put it in like cart right now. Let's see. Clip grabber for missing videos. I can see that being handy. We'd probably have to use an open source video recorder or something like that, but I think that would be possible. Import Microsoft Store. Speedrunner apps. What kind of speedrunner apps? Easier method to correct unrecognized content. Well, tell me how, I guess. I heard you mention coding a key mapper, but you don't need to. Just launch the key mapper and associate platform like Rocket Launcher does. Yeah, well, we already have the way to do that. We could make it easier, I'm sure. Image category per platform is, again, already available. Jade, I hope I was seen. I didn't see you, Jade, so sorry. Say it again. I got a lot to go through here, guys. Sorry, I'm doing my best. Steam achievements and details. Ah, yes. Unzip progress is already there, and it is themable in the startup screens. Default game and default emulator from additional apps, 2 separate requests. Unless they can both be done in the same poll question. I'm dense right now. I've got too much going on in my head. I need better explanations there. Video grabber for missing media. Yeah, we already added that. Sidebar pop-up menu and big box showing extra information like trailers, commercials, box art, music, and more banner. Cody has a sidebar. It'd be cool in big box. Where are we going to get that stuff? That's the question. Switch Pro Controller. I'm sure you can make it work currently. I'm not going to provide drivers for Switch. Or media image types for platforms. Visual indication of user marks the game is broken. Enhancement. Visual indication when user marks game is broken. Ah. Visual indication for broken games. Icon, I assume. Random startup video for big box is already there. Webcam support. What are we going to do with webcam support? Cheats field and pause. Okay, I can see that being cool. Although you could use a document. Okay, filtering to missing media to see what to work on. What about an on-screen keyboard pop-up? Easy overlay pop-up inside Big Box. Well, we already have that inside Big Box, but in-game, that is unfortunately too much of a challenge because you can't overlay anything on top of a exclusive mode full screen game or emulator without doing it individually for every single game. So that's just not going to happen, unfortunately. LaunchBox Friendslist. That's interesting. Well, I think the best thing to do would be to integrate Discord for that. PDFs. What does that mean? We have PDFs. Android version. Yep. That's going on the poll. Cloud integration for game saves, setting controller profiles. You know, I've tried the cloud thing before, and nobody wants it. So I'm going to move on past that. People just don't like the cloud stuff. I've tried it. I know there's an audit to see which videos you have or do not have for game, but I'm not seeing one for the manuals. Yeah, manuals is missing in audit, so... This is good because some of these little tiny things, I'll be honest, some of the tiny things will not end up on the poll. I can't put a little tiny thing on the poll because nobody's going to care that much, right? But this is still good because I'll make a list of this stuff and little tiny requests, you know, as development goes on and I get sick of working on a big feature, I'll just go and tackle some of these little tiny features. So some of the stuff will end up like that. So just so you guys are aware how this will likely work. Okay, some of the stuff is already on our list. Mame software lists are still a pain in the butt, and every time I try and tackle them, I just get, nobody cares. So yeah, I think we should probably put that on the poll though. That's a good idea. Integration into Musicbox Alpha. Okay, sure. Yeah. You mean music? Yeah, I don't know how that looks, but so integrate a disk mounting app. I don't know of one that I could integrate. Is the problem? It'd be nice. I mean, I understand the appeal there for sure, but I don't think I can integrate Daemon Tools because of the license on the software. See, webcam equals streaming. So streaming support. But what do you need for streaming support? And random talk about wives and girlfriends. Let's keep the language down, guys, please. Jukebox mode. I keep hearing that, but I'm not quite sure what that means compared to what we have. Like adding music to Big Box. Somebody needs to ban this Javier Campos guy on YouTube. Mods, if you're around and helping out. Scraper integration. Scraping from what? Oh, it is noon, isn't it? That's true. Yeah, I should wrap it up here soon, guys. All right, it does seem like we're running out of things that are actually useful. So, yeah, so, okay, so let's if we can, let's cut off the requests and go through some of these and figure out like how wanted they are, if that's okay with you guys. So, hide platforms. What that means, I mean, you can already hide games from Big Box or LaunchBox. So the advantage of being able to hide a platform means you can have the platform's games in playlists, but the platform won't show up. So what's your guys' opinion on that? Plus ones and minus ones to help me out. Getting, there we go. Well, it's controversial, but I'm getting more plus ones than I thought I would. So, yeah, we'll mark that as orange. Year-only format. So basically, better support for only putting a year in the release date instead of the full date. Because right now you kind of have to put 1/1/1998. Plus 1 year only. Plus 1. Plus 1. Wow, there's lots of plus ones on this one. Any negatives? Or are we good? Should I mark it as green? Well, there's a couple negatives. Goodness. All right. Well, that'll be a green one then. Cool. Auto backup emulator saves. I don't know exactly what that means, but I would assume you're just gonna make backups of your emulator saves so that if you accidentally delete them, you can go back and get at them. That's going to be pretty emulator specific though. So if we were to do something like that, it would have to be like for RetroArch, because we're not going to be able to support every single emulator that way. It's pretty hairy. Yeah, I'm not getting a lot of positive on that. More negative. I'm going to mark that one as red. So not this time around. Controller dead zone settings. This is one of those things that is probably not going to end up on the poll. It might, though. If you guys are all for it, I'll put it on the poll. But it's one of those things I do need to tackle. The issue is that if you got a crap controller or a controller that's like worn out or just a crappy brand, there are controllers that don't work well in LaunchBox or Big Box because they're too loose. And so you're not touching anything and it'll scroll because your controller's crap. I hate to call them, I shouldn't call them crappy controllers, but honestly that's what we're dealing with here. So anytime you're dealing with a 360 controller, an Xbox One controller, or a PS4 controller that works properly, you're not going to have this issue. It's only for broken controllers or controllers that are just, out of the blue, random garbage. Not that every other controller is garbage, but you know what I mean. So I'm getting a lot of negatives on that. I'm gonna say I'll make that red, and I'll probably get to it some other time, just randomly out of the blue. Okay, LaunchBox dual monitor. What do you guys think? Does anybody want LaunchBox dual monitor support? And why? What do you want on the second monitor? -1, +1, -1, -1, -1. Lots of negatives. If anybody really wants this, speak up, because screen number 1 shows list, screen number 2 shows game. Okay. There's a few pluses in there, but not a lot. A lot of negatives. So that one's red. All right, Minecraft mod packs. Who's interested in Minecraft mod packs support? Like managing Minecraft mod packs in LaunchBox. That's interesting. I'm actually very, very familiar with Minecraft, the PC version of Minecraft, and Java plugins and all that stuff. Server side, I'm more familiar than the client side. So this is interesting. The thing is, it's a little too specific is what I'm thinking. So yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. And I'm getting a lot of negative ones. It's too specific to do all that work for one game. Even though Minecraft is like literally one of the best games ever made, I agree with you on that. Minecraft is amazing. I still play it with my family occasionally. I used to play it constantly. So yeah, I like Minecraft, but there's tools out there to do that. So I don't think integrating that into LaunchBox really makes sense. WYSIWYG notes. For those of you who don't know what WYSIWYG means, it means being able to add HTML formatting to notes, like bold, italics, stuff like that. So being able to format notes. That's a good point. Minecraft does sound like a job for a plugin or an add-on. Same thing, plugin. -1 on notes. Some positive ones. So we're even right now on -1s and positive ones for WYSIWYG. So this one's torn, it looks like to me. We'll make that one orange. There it is. Okay. We got quite a few more to get through, but I'd like to get through all the rest of these, and then we'll probably end the stream. I'm going to be late, but it'll be all right. More fields, more than one platform for audits. So basically, audits right now, for one thing, is they're platform specific, so you have to do one platform at a time. I feel like if you do all platforms, it's going to be too big, but that's one request, being able to do all platforms, and then also the missing fields. One missing field in audit is manual. If this was a popular request, I would go through and I would add all the missing fields into audits and then open it up to be able to do your entire collection at once, or try if it's not a major performance issue. I'm getting quite a few pluses on audits. Yeah, I'm getting lots of positive feedback on audits. Okay, so we'll make that green. Cool. All right. Big box random game. So before we do a check on this, there is already features in Big Box to do this. There's a plugin that does it, although I'm sure it's not ideal because it's limited by what a plugin can do. And there's also a way to hold down a button, which will spin the wheel. You release the button, and it will stop spinning the wheel and land on a particular game. So you already have random features like this, but apparently they're not exactly what people want in Big Box. So is that still something that we want? Do you guys want that on the poll? Looks torn for the moment. Now I'm seeing more negatives. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of negatives. I'm going to make that red. Sorry, guys. All right. Daphne Importer. Honestly, again, this is a platform I've never really worked with. So I don't know anything about it. I don't know what's missing. I don't know what we need. So if somebody is able to tell me what we're missing as far as a Daphne importer, that would help. What are we missing for Daphne? Daphne's an arcade platform that's video based. Definitely torn on Daphne, but I don't know what we need. I don't know what we're missing with it. I would have to research that. Yeah, Daphne's Laserdisc. But anyways, Dragon's Lair. But again, what are we missing? Why can't you import Daphne games? Because you can import anything. Everything always works, but what are we missing to make it easy? Daphne works fine. So nobody knows what we're missing. All right, well, if we can't... It's difficult, and their ports are ports of many of the games. It can never get Daphne to work well for me. It does work, but it's confusing. You need to create a batch file, and it's a pain. Well, honestly, if you need to create a batch file, I can't solve... Well, I mean, yeah, I can solve that. I don't know. I need to research that more. But I'm getting a lot of negatives, so honestly, I don't think I'm going to put that on there. Unless a bunch of people speak up. Maybe just need ETA Prime to make a video. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's smart. Okay, Parsec Integration. To be honest, I've heard it before, but I don't remember what it is for the moment. What is Parsec? I know I've been over it before, but I don't remember exactly what it is for the moment. I should know this. I feel like an idiot right now because I know I should know this, but I don't. I'm gonna look it up. Game streaming. Play games with friends. Okay. All right. That sounds cool. Yeah, I remember looking at that at one point. That's a great thing to put on the poll. What do you guys think? So basically, it's I don't know how well it works or anything. I've never tried it, but it's supposedly allows you to stream games with your friends. So I can see that being a positive thing to put on the poll. What do you guys think? I'm getting lots of positives now, but I did get a lot of negatives though too. You know what? I think that would be exciting. So I'm going to mark it green, and we're getting quite a few positives. So there you go. We have, wow, we got a lot left here, guys. We got 23 left. All right. Well, let's keep going. Default emulator for additional apps. Choose emulator to run. So basically, so there's launch with. If you right click on a game in LaunchBox, you can launch the default ROM with any emulator. But right now, there's no way to do that for additional apps. So if you have an additional version of a game, there's no way to run an additional version with a particular emulator that isn't the default. So that's what this is. Lots of plus ones. Yeah, so that'll be green. Great. Okay, Big Box add favorite shortcut. I'll be honest, I'm not sure if that exists already or not. Obviously, it's easy to add a favorite. You just go into the details for the games and you click add favorite. We probably don't have a keyboard shortcut for it. I'm guessing is what this is about. You guys are probably hearing my kids in the background screaming at the top of their lungs. Plus one for shortcut, plus one, negative one, negative one, negative one. Well, definitely torn on this one. This is not a big job. Honestly, it's kind of silly to put that on the poll because it's not that exciting and it's not a big job. But I'll mark it as orange right now. The orange items, we'll go through. We'll see how many green items we have, and what I'll do is count. I'm going to shoot for 40 items, so we'll get, which is a lot. It's still too many, but we kind of need a lot. So all the green items will be on there. We'll see how many left, and then I'll pick from the orange ones to fill up 40 items. Is what we're going to do here. Marquis Customization. Basically, we should combine that with marquee positions. So adding options menus to configure which images to show up on the marquees. We might want to combine this with marquee videos, actually. I'm thinking probably do that. But I'm not even going to take a vote on this. What I'm going to do, I'm going to delete this record and this record, and we'll go to the videos one, or wherever it is. Come on, where is it? Marquee video support, customization options for placement and image types. Do something like that, put it all together, right? So my concern with that item is that it's something we need to do, but not everybody has marquee screens, so is it going to get enough votes? I don't know. So I think combining it is probably a good thing to do. All right, default emulator for game in Big Box. So changing the default emulator for a game in Big Box. Again, that's a tiny little thing. It probably shouldn't be on the poll, but it's something we need to do. So I'm going to skip that one for time. It'll get done eventually. Add platforms to database. Again, something I need to do, but it's not. It shouldn't be on the poll because it's just kind of dumb to put something like that on the poll. Pause screen, multiple states. That's something that should probably go on the poll if people are interested. What do you guys think? Multiple states for pause screens. The challenge there is every emulator is different, and we don't know what emulators support. But anyways, we can do our best with it, right? Multiple states for pause screens. Remember, guys, when you +1 and -1, do me a favor and put what you're talking about, because lots of people are behind in the stream. So put +1 pause or -1 pause so I can tell that you're talking about multiple states for pause screens. Supporting multiple save states and load states for pause screens is what it's about. Seems to be torn though, although there's lots. I'm gonna make it orange. All right, media cleanup, display, but don't delete them automatically. So basically, in the media cleanup process, provide more logging and show the user what is going to be deleted, and then provide options as far as what to do with it, right? I think is the best approach for that. There's a couple for media cleanup, a couple more. There's one negative. Yeah, I think I'm gonna green that one. Oops. All right, we're getting positive feedback on that, and I agree. Discord integration, that one's exciting. Although it's kind of off the wall, why don't you just have Discord open up next to LaunchBox? Why do you need Discord integration with LaunchBox? But at the same time, it would be cool. I think the main, yeah, I don't know what that means. Like, how do we need to integrate Discord? What do we need to do? I like it, but what does it mean? So obviously, you need to. The only thing I can think of, there'd be no point in putting a friends list in LaunchBox unless you're using it for LaunchBox specific ways, like somehow integrated in with your games. Announcing what you're playing, maybe. I don't know. Discord integration would be super useful. Not sure what it would do, but still. That's kind of where I'm at. What do you do with it? What do you do with it? Take it easy, Condorito. Show the game you are playing. Seems torn a little bit, but yeah. We'll make it yellow. Okay, and then Xbox controller and PS4 controller special button support. It does seem like a small thing to put on the poll, but it is something that needs to be done. We're getting some positive feedback on that. I'll go ahead and make that green. I know I do need to do that. I don't know. Yeah, I'll make that green. That's fine. Mame money tracking is an interesting one that has never come up before. We're getting to the end of it here, guys. What do you guys think about Mame money tracking? That's certainly different. basically what it would be is tracking how much money you spent playing a particular game on a given day. Not sure how it would look at this point, but it's definitely either negative or people are torn. One thing, yeah, I'm going to make that red. I'm not getting enough positive feedback on that. All right. Guidebooks, magazines, and maps, which are, you can already add this stuff. It's already easy to do. You can put it on the pause screens and everything else in additional apps. But it would be easier to do if we added a particular folder for it where you just drop the stuff in. You know, those kinds of details. So do we add particular fields for guidebooks, magazines, maps, and stuff like that? I don't know about magazines. I'm not sure why you would need magazines in with your games. They're separate things, right? Maps make sense. Guidebooks make sense. Hint books make sense. Whatever. Guidebooks and hint books are the same. Cheats, I don't know. Guides. I'm getting some positive stuff. Quite a bit of positive stuff. Okay. I might change that a little bit because I don't understand the magazine thing, but yeah, I'll make that green. Multiple instances. So being able to start up multiple instances of LaunchBox at the same time. I don't understand the appeal there really. And honestly, it would be a pain, but let me know if you guys are into that. I just can't see putting that on the poll. It's just, yeah, and that's not being voted well. So we'll make that red. Multiple image categories or more image categories: cassette, handheld device. So on the games database, I know cassette is one image category that we're missing. I don't really know why you need a handheld device image type. Unless it's a, I guess, yeah, that makes sense. And for some platforms, like platforms that have each device is a separate game. Although, to be honest, there's not a whole lot of difference between putting those images in cart, because there are no carts for those platforms. There's only, well, there are, okay, I have read on the forums, there are a few platforms, or more than a few probably, that have both carts and cassettes available. And right now they're grouped together. So that's, is it a big deal? No, but we already have a million different image types. This seems to be, people are torn on it. Yeah, I'll make that yellow. Okay. Clip grabber for missing videos. Automatic video recorder. This is going to have to be like some sort of open source project that we integrate into LaunchBox if we do it. But it might be worth doing if people are interested. I see 1 + 1 and that's it. There's a few more. Nothing but +1 so far. Yeah, lots of positives. Hard drive space is cheap these days. Videos don't take up that much hard drive space. Lots of positives. So, then I agree. I think that would be really nice to have. So there you go. Let's make it green. Okay, import from the Microsoft Store. That's interesting because, yeah, I could see that being useful. Basically, UWP apps. And that has been an issue in the past. So I don't know how to do that, to be honest. I don't even know if it's possible. But assuming it is that something you guys want? -1, -1, negative. Yeah, okay. Some positives, but a lot of negatives. All right, speak up, guys, if you want that. There's a. Okay, I'll mark it as torn. All right, Steam achievements. This is a big deal. You guys want Steam achievements in LaunchBox like we have retro achievements in LaunchBox? You want something similar to that? One positive, one negative. There we go. A lot more positives. Plus Steam, yeah, Steam, yeah. Okay. I'm seeing more positive, way more positives than negatives on that. Cool. I think we'll make that green. Okay, visual indication for broken games. Basically, I would imagine an icon on games in LaunchBox that are broken. In Big Box, I don't know, but I would make sure there's something similar to that in Big Box as well in the game details. I don't know, that might already exist, but I'm not positive. So where are you guys at on broken games? A visual indicator for broken games in the boxes list. Perhaps a sort option for that too. Doesn't that already exist? Maybe not. Lots of positives on that broken thing. I see one negative, and that's it. All right. I'll green it. Okay, filter to missing media. So you have a collection and you're anal retentive like I am, and you want to filter to anything missing a particular piece of media. We already have an option to hide games that are missing particular media. If you want to filter to stuff that's missing particular media so that you can work on it. What do you guys think of this one? Lots of positives. Jump to next missing per media. I like the way that works. Yeah, that would be easy to implement. Easier to implement. Lots of positives on that. Okay, another green one. Thank you guys. All right, now the friends list thing. We already talked about this a little bit with Discord. If we were going to do a friends list in LaunchBox, we would definitely do it through Discord at this point. Everybody's using Discord. And although I'm not always impressed with Discord, everybody uses it. So a friends list thing, I think, so basically what we already said Discord integration is up here and we got torn responses on that. I'm just going to delete this and assume that it's part of that. We're getting lots of negatives on that, though. Well, people are torn, just like the Discord items, so that's perfect. Okay, just a few items left. Audit manual, we already covered that in the audit option above, and people did want that, so that's green, I believe. Mame software lists. Okay, so supporting Mame software lists. Proper support for imports, making that easy. Who's interested? In the past, I haven't gathered enough interest to tackle it. Few positives. Nothing but positives so far. Couple negatives. Lots of positives. I think it's about time it ended up on the poll, for heaven's sake. So let's do it. Let's make it green. All right. Music Box Alpha integration. Now, I don't know exactly what this would mean. They're going to remain separate apps. But what we could do is we could maybe, hook a game up to a particular album between the two or something like that. I don't know. What do you guys think? Yeah, I would have guessed there's probably a lot of negatives on this one. It's because it's not clear how to hook it up, how to integrate it. Yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll mark that one as red. Okay, and then lastly, integrated disk mounting app. Now the problem with this, the challenge with this is what app do I choose? Is there a good one that is a license that we can actually integrate? We can't distribute daemon tools that I'm aware of. So I don't know. I don't know. So I don't know if we can even vote on that one. I'd have to do more research before I'd be able to put that one on the poll. So I guess at this point we're done, guys. So anybody itching to say something before we end this up? Yeah, Windows 10 does let you do it natively. That's true. Hack IPS patching is not on this list. Actually, good point. I think I missed that one. But I doubt there's going to be a lot of positives, a lot of positive feedback on that. Anybody else want IPS patching? Fright risk, yeah, we have that on the list. The combined games, different versions. Thank you all very much. I appreciate it. I really do. This has been a great stream. So I'm not sure if it's just because our mods have been doing an amazing job keeping the trolls away, or if we just we're blessed. But thank you all very much. I think this was certainly productive. I know a lot of people want me to stream more, and I do appreciate that. I think I'll after this positive stream, I'll definitely consider that going forward. Maybe stream once a month or something like that. I do like doing it. I got burnt out on it, really burnt out on it, to the point where it was just like, so anyways, it caused me a few minor issues because I was doing it too often ultimately. And people are stressful. They really are, especially people that are trolls. So anyways, but I love you all very much. I still love what I'm doing. I feel like the luckiest guy in the world because I get to work on exactly what I want to work on. I wake up in the morning and I develop, which I love doing, and I'm developing like gaming stuff. So honestly, I owe it all to you guys, and I really, really, really appreciate it. We are doing just fine income wise. It's still at this point it's just me and ETA. But it's going really well. I'm looking forward. If you ask me what I'm looking forward to personally, currently, it's the most. It's actually an Android port. I really want to build an Android port. That is high up on my personal list of things I want to tackle. So I don't know if it's going to be high up on the poll, but my hunch it seems to be like there's a lot of interest for that. So hopefully, selfishly, I hope that ends up high up on the list. And if it is high up on the list, that'll probably be the first thing I tackle. So I'll probably take a month, at most 2 months, to build the first version of that Android app. But of course, anything high up on the poll will be worked on shortly. So it took us like a year and a few months, something like that, to get through all the poll items last time. I think there's probably going to be more poll items on this poll, a little bit more. So who knows how long it's going to take. But certainly in the next couple of years, we'll get everything that's voted high up there done. So we'll keep it moving forward. And appreciate y'all very much. So thank you very, very much. And I'll see you guys hopefully in a stream here soon around the forums or wherever else. And I'll look forward to seeing everybody's votes on the poll. So have a good one, everybody.